What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Monday Morning Breathwork Training. I'm Anthony Laribio from here at Recal. It has been a long time since I have done a live coaching session in the morning. I know it's been a couple of months if you've been following along with us for a little while. We've launched a ton of new stuff these past couple of months, and I've been hard at work at that. But here I am, as promised, ready to guide you through another breathwork training session, just like the old days. I also want to make a special welcome to those of you that are coming here from Grajales. And if you have an expedition coming up this season at Aconcagua, welcome. All right, so for today's training session, all you're really going to need is a seat to sit in, or maybe a yoga mat if you want to do some of the breathwork training today from a yoga mat position. That's really it. That's all you're going to need. You're not going to need any special equipment or anything like that as we get going with the breathing. So why don't you go ahead and make your way down to that seated position? We're going to focus on a couple of things today. The first one is going to be your carbon dioxide tolerance. And the second one is going to be protocols for recovery. I'm assuming most of you out there have been doing some training. You're in the midst of some training, and the weekends are typically harder training blocks. So on Monday, I want to focus on some recovery, and we're going to use breath work to do that. So from that seated position, go ahead and notice the breath coming in and out through your nose. Sit up nice and straight, tall spine, relaxed shoulders. I want you to take a breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And at the bottom of that exhale, pinch your nose and hold your breath. We're beginning with that nose unblocking exercise. Just gently nod your head up and down while holding your breath. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Release your nose. Breathe in through your nose immediately after. We're going to do that just 3 or 4 more times. Again, this is called the nose unblocking exercise. Take a breath in through the nose. Breath out. Pinch your nose, hold your breath, nod your head up and down. Relax into this breath hold. You're here for 3, 2, 1. Release, breathe in. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times. This always helps to clear out your nose because this is what we want to use 99.9% of the time when we're training. This is really a key part of breathwork training. This helps clear out the nose. It also helps to harness something called nitric oxide, which gets into the lungs, into the system. It dilates the blood vessels and helps with gas diffusion into the bloodstream as well. So take a breath in through the nose. Breath out. Pinch and hold. Rock your head up and down. Three, 2, 1. Release. Breathe in nice and deep. Maybe you notice some more moisture inside your nose. That's your nose kind of clearing its way through some of that mucus. Breathe normally for a moment. And once again, last time, in and out. Pinch your nose, hold your breath, rock back and forth, nodding your head gently. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Nice job. Now we're going to begin something called breathe light. And as the name suggests, and you maybe have done this with me before, we're going to breathe lighter than we normally would. This is going to invite that feeling of air hunger, that feeling like you want to take a much bigger breath. That's what we want to harness in this exercise, is that feeling of tolerable air hunger. That means carbon dioxide's risen in the blood, and we can start to develop more tolerance to carbon dioxide, which will enable us to feel less out of breath out on the mountain. So sitting up nice and straight, relax your shoulders, If you want to, you can use your finger as a guide. Place it right beneath your nose, resting on your upper lip. Take a breath in through your nose and a breath out, and feel the air as it runs across your finger, both on the way in and on the way out. And now begin to breathe lighter than you normally would, maybe even to the point that you can barely feel the air as it runs across your finger on the way in and then back out across your finger on the way out. You're breathing slower, you're breathing lighter. And over time, because we're slowing down the breathing, we're trying to invite that feeling of air hunger, that feeling like you want to slash need to take a much deeper breath. And once you've reached that tolerable level of air hunger, I want you to stick with that pace of breathing for the next minute. If at any point in time your breathing becomes erratic, like you just can't control it on the way in or on the way out, that is okay. Take a couple of normal breaths. And then when you're ready, drop back into that slow breathing. You've got 45 more seconds. Just focus on your breathing here, nothing else. 15 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Go ahead and breathe normally now. Good work. So that is called Breathe Light. It helps us to bring in that feeling of air hunger, which is carbon dioxide, and it helps us in the long run feel less out of breath. We are going to use that exercise again, actually later in this particular training session, because now we're going to do something called recovery breathing. We want to get here during recovery breathing, we want to get oxygen into the bloodstream, right? Makes sense. We want to uptick as much oxygen as we can into the bloodstream. But then the critical moment is we want to get it out of the bloodstream and into the muscle tissue, right? Because we just trained hard, maybe yesterday, maybe the day before. And we want to oxygenate those muscles as much as possible to help promote proper recovery. The way that we're going to do this is, again, from that seated position or on a yoga mat, whichever one you feel comfortable with right now. If you're on the yoga mat, I want you lying down on your back, feet flat on the ground, but your knees at a 90-degree angle. Okay. But of course, you can just be seated for this as well. As you get into position, I want you to place one hand up on your chest, one hand on your lower belly, just like this. We're going to take maybe 10 or so deep breaths to begin. Very deep. I want you to feel like you're inflating first into that lower hand, then into their upper hand, and then exhale through your mouth and let it go. We're going to do 9 more of those, just like that. Nice. Good. Keep up that breathing pace. You may notice as we are effectively hyperventilating here, you might start to feel a bit lightheaded. You might even feel some tingling sensations in your hands or your feet. If those sensations are in any way too uncomfortable for you, just slow down your breathing. Otherwise, continue for about 3 more deep breaths with me. This is why we do it seated, by the way. 2 more. Good work. Last one. Deeply in. Let it go. Good. And now we're going to drop back into that breathe light. Breathing very lightly in so that you can barely feel the air on your finger if you're using your finger as a guide. And then breathing out, barely feeling the air either on your finger or even just coming through your nose. You can also focus on the hairs inside your nose during breathe light. You're breathing in so slowly that you're barely making those hairs move. We're here for another 45 seconds. Breathing light, breathing slow. Make this a little meditation for yourself. Obviously, breathwork training, we are trying to make a physical response inside the body, making a few key adaptations, but we're also building mental resilience and building a mindset. And this type of meditation can help with that. You're here for 10 more seconds during breathe light. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead and relax. Breathe normally just for a moment. So the combination of that controlled hyperventilation and then breathe light, those two things together are recovery breathing. The science behind that is that we're bringing oxygen into the blood by breathing stronger and faster than you normally would, maximizing the amount of oxygen that is on the hemoglobin inside our red blood cells, right? And then we go into breathe light, which will cause carbon dioxide levels to rise in the blood, which promotes the oxygen to hop off of the hemoglobin and into your muscle tissue, right? So it's two-stage process. Oxygen into the blood, oxygen out of the blood and into the muscle tissue. So we're going to go ahead and do that 2 more times now. All right, once again, either seated position or if you're in that yoga position on the ground, let's start taking some deep breaths together. Here, we'll maybe go for 15 or even 20 deep breaths. So deeply in, belly, chest, exhale through the mouth. Good. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Good. Deeply in and out. Continue at that breathing pace. You're focused on nothing but your breathing here. Deeply bring as much air in as you can, and then let the air go. Deeply in, let it go. Good. We're going to continue for about 3 more breaths now. That's it. Just 3 more breaths. Go for 2 more breaths with me. Last one. Let it go. Drop your hands to your side and drop in to breathe light for the next minute and a half. You're breathing so slowly that you can barely feel the air as it passes through your nose. Do your best to control the breath, both on the way in, at the top of an inhale, and on the way out, and at the bottom of your exhale. This will help with diaphragmatic control. And if you do feel that diaphragm contract every now and then, it's like the dome shape of the diaphragm. It flattens out. That's what a contraction looks like with your diaphragm. If you do feel that every now and then, that's okay. Just try to relax into that and maybe even swallow if you need to swallow. That swallowing motion Sends a relaxation vibe down to the diaphragm. You're here for 30 more seconds. Once again, this is part 2 of recovery breathing. We're allowing carbon dioxide levels to build back up into the blood, especially right after that controlled hyperventilation that offloads a lot of carbon dioxide. And as CO2 climbs back in the blood, it allows oxygen to get off of the hemoglobin and into our muscle tissue. This is why this is good for recovery. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead and breathe normally. Nice job. You're doing great. We're going to do that one more time together. Okay. Once again, one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Breathe deeply in through your nose first to fill up the belly. Now the chest. Exhale and let it go. Fill up the belly. Chest. Exhale, let it go. Nice job. Deeply in and out. Keep up with that breathing. We're going to go for about 10 to 15 more breaths. Getting oxygen into the bloodstream. Just feel your breathing. Feel the muscles that you're using to do your breathing. Feel the diaphragm in action here. As you breathe deeply in, it flattens out to create space for air in the lungs. Feel the muscles in your rib cage, your intercostal muscles. As you breathe in deeply, they're expanding your rib cage outward. Just focus on those muscles in action doing your breathing. We're going to go for 3 more breaths now. 2 more breaths. Now this is your last breath deeply in. Let it go. Why don't you hold your breath now? You're holding your breath after an exhale. This short breath hold, again, is going to allow carbon dioxide to rise in your blood. We're going to be here for 10 more seconds. Five more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And breathe lightly in through your nose as you come out of that hold. And once again, breathe lightly out and do your best to control the exhale on the way out. We're entering breathe light one last time. Lightly in. And exhale. Softly and controlled. We're here for the next 45 seconds. Again, we're trying to invite that feeling of air hunger. You're focused on your breathing. Notice the air come in through your nose. Notice the air go back out. Breathing light and breathing slow. Just 10 more seconds. Do your best to stay focused on your breathing. 3, 2, 1. Good. Nice job. Go ahead and allow your natural breathing to come back to you. In fact, I'll even teach you a little protocol to offload carbon dioxide very quickly. This is called a physiological sigh. It's a double inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth. So go ahead and take an inhale through your nose. Pause just for a moment and then sniff in again. Exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale. Pause. Sniff in. Exhale. All right. Go ahead and shake that out. We are officially done with our recovery breathing. If you are down on the ground, go ahead and gently make your way back up to a seated position. I want to thank you for joining today's training session. Again, we were focused on number 1, carbon dioxide tolerance, and number 2, recovery breathing. I'm assuming you're out there doing hard work on the mountain, off the mountain, in whatever training that you're doing. Recovery breathing can help promote recovery in those muscle tissues. Couple of last notes. One of the things that I was working on over the last few months was something called the Recal Breath Index. So if you're curious of what the heck that is, I'd love to show it to you. This is the Recal Breath Index is a simple way for you to take 5 minutes and see exactly how you breathe, how well you breathe specifically. It taps into the biochemical side of your breathing, which is basically how well you exchange gases, regulate your blood pH, deliver oxygen, but then also the biomechanics of your breathing, how much you engage your diaphragm with your breathing, what's your lung expansion like. The QR code that you see here at the top is the way to get to our assessment tool. And again, it just takes 5 minutes. If you're curious on how you breathe, take 5 minutes, do your RBI, Recal Breath Index, and you'll know what exactly your weakest points are, what your strengths are, and what you can work on with your breathing. And then the last thing that I'll mention as well that I would love to share with you is about Basecamp, which is the platform that we just launched here at Recal, which is designed specifically for mountain athletes to be able to have a community that you can train with, that you can swap ideas with. This is the platform that I actually host our breathwork training sessions on, as you can see here. You've got members from around the world that are doing cool things in the mountains that you can get to know, swap ideas with. And then there's also, maybe most importantly, we just launched this thing called the 10-Day Breath Challenge. I designed a course for you to feel less out of breath after 10 days. So I encourage you to take the 10-Day Breath Challenge and feel less out of breath. Eventually, there's going to be a leaderboard for people that have improved their baseline breath assessment, which focuses on how you feel out of breath wise. And at the end of 10 days, you retake that assessment. And those that have made the biggest jumps during the 10 days of training will show up on that leaderboard. So we also have got exercise coaching and tips and all this sort of stuff inside this training platform as well. Okay, enough of that. Thanks so much again for joining today's Monday training session. I hope to see you in on Basecamp and also with your Recal Breath Index. I look forward to seeing you again on the live stream coaching session next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.